So in the last comedy we actually talked about in terms of good shows was Go On.
Right.
Which just
That looked like a triangle, but
still
I know
does.
what you mean. Hearts.
Yeah, we could go like, which a lot of people were doing.
Oh,
Science
yeah,
and Voice. They were doing like this.
I know,
and
I
I'm
don't
like,
know why.
I know. I'm not going to go into this tirade, but yes.
Um,
but yes, Go On. I love.
Right.
I still love.
I do. It's grown on me a lot. Like, I liked the pilot. I didn't love the pilot. There are still elements of the show that, like, I want to reach in there and, like, tweak, but I feel like there are a lot of elements of a lot of shows I feel that way, and, like, let's be honest, they don't have to make their show for me all the time. And I will say that, like, the bearded guy, I still don't know his character's name. Like, sure. But that's part of my issue. Like, he drives me up the wall. Like, I feel like he's still a caricature, and I'm like, you either need to get rid of him or just give us his episode with his backstory, because he's the one, I feel like, weak link. And I don't mean the actor, I mean just the fact that this character is so weird and so off the wall when everybody else feels so grounded and so, like, together as a unit. But all that being said, I also know that they're giving us that soon. So, and they're doing it in a holiday episode, and let's be honest, that's how you win me over. You give me a holiday episode.
That's pretty much
So
true.
I think I'll only, if I started here with the show and I'm here now, like, I think I'm only going to grow to love it more. And I really just hope they bring Lauren Graham back. Like, I know she's busy and whatever, but...
Well, Parenthood's only 13 episodes. It's over a couple months.
It's a stressful 13 episodes. I could understand if you don't want to work. If you want to
She
take the
doesn't need the
time
money,
in
per
between
se.
jobs. But I loved that dynamic for his character, because I love the idea that, so much of the show started, obviously he's grieving for his wife, and, this support group is supposed to help him get over that, but it's not about forgetting her and moving on. It's kind of like looking at what your life is as a whole. And I think that, like, bringing somebody in who also has insight into him and knew him before and with the wife is really an interesting dynamic, because so many of his quirks you may think happened because or as a result of losing his wife. But maybe this is how he's been for a really, you know what I mean? Maybe it's a little bit of that Mr. Sunshine. He's always been kind of dry and snarky and on the darker side of things, and it just was exacerbated. So I just really love that, which I know is just one episode, but it just was the most recent episode and made me really happy. And I really hope that at some point we get to meet Tyler's brother. I know his name is not Tyler in the show. Owen's brother. Because I have a perfect casting for it. I'm not saying he needs to, like, miraculously come out of his coma or anything, but I just, like, I like that storyline. I like that, like, big brother, little brother aspect. Where they're helping each other, and I'm like, and I want to see what happens kind of when the big brother is actually back in the picture. Just saying. Perfect casting.
Well, though I have a question, because, you kind of mentioned that Ben and Kate reminded you of their community-esque aspects. Do you feel that with Go On?
Well, I did. I mean, I said that in the pilot.
Right.
I mean, just the idea of these random strangers from all walks of life coming together to, like, be friends and help each other through things. Yes. Obviously, basic premise, yes. I feel a little less with the humor. I don't know. I mean, there are some easy parallels you can draw in terms of, like, the archetypes of the characters, but I mean, in terms of, like, the week-to-week stories, not so much. Maybe I just haven't looked into it as much. Maybe it's also because Go On was on hiatus and reruns for a little while in between there, but honestly not as much as, like, I feel like on Ben and Kate, Echo and Nat's friendship is very Troy and Abed in a weird way. And I don't see that yet on Go On. Maybe there will be. I don't know. I kind of hope not, because I feel like two shows like that on NBC might be pushing it, and then it's like an either-or situation with the network, and I don't want to get them into a position where they're competing against each other. And I have to say, I love Julie White's character. Like, I didn't know where they were taking these people in the pilot, and I'm really happy with where they took her. She's just so dark and amazing, and just, like, her relationship with her kids, perfect. Loved it.
Yeah, I mean, and for me, I think it's not a secret at all that I love Friends.
Obviously.
No. So what I'm saying,
what?
I know, shocking, guys, shocking. I only quote it like every other minute. But the thing is, like, for me, one of the big signs that the show is working for me is that I don't look at Matthew Perry and I'm not thinking, oh my God, you're Chandler. Not like fangirl, but like it's not.
It's a different character.
Right, and it's not like I'm looking at him thinking, no, seriously, you're being Chandler here, and it's very obvious. Just stop. And he is. I mean, yes, there's sarcastic elements of him, which I think could just be very Matthew Perry-esque for all we know.
Right.
But at the same time, there's such a difference to the characters, and in a comedy, you know, with Mr. Sunshine, I feel like at times, I didn't always have that separation, and I like that the separation has stayed, even though, you know, the show is from one of the Friends writers, so it would have been very easy to kind of slip back into something that they're so familiar with together. And I'm really happy with the show, and it's, you know, I'm surprised because I honestly can't remember the last year where comedies were more enjoyable for me overall than dramas.
See, I wouldn't say overall.
I mean,
for me personally.
I know with the Nashville, but
and a lot of other shows.
for the new shows.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll talk about that in a minute.
We'll get to that.
But no, I feel like for me, you know, normally comedies take like I love Raising Hope now, but we've talked about it. It took a while for it to grow on me.
Yeah.
I feel like these
that's why I'm glad we're doing this kind of check-in, because, you know, from the pilot to episode 6 or 7 or wherever some of these are at, they can become completely different shows too. And I feel not just growing on you, but like look at Cougar Town and how that became a totally different show. And then it's kind of like, well, did I like what you first tried to sell me more than what you're giving me now? And should I expect this to continue for 6 more episodes or forever, you know? And I will say that the 3 of these that we've talked about, the one thing I appreciate the most is that they are staying true to what we were told they were. I don't, you know, if you sell an idea and you sell a show, like, I appreciate networks giving you the chance to retool it to a degree. But if they picked up a certain idea and a certain character dynamic, and then midway through you switch, you're basically giving them a different show, and I feel cheated.
Right.
So I appreciate that all of these they've known what they are since the beginning, and they've proven that by consistently, you know, evolving them rather than drastically changing them.
Right, and I feel like, you know, this is the first year in a while that I feel like the comedies that I've liked have stayed that way. And like, you know, it's been a while, I feel like comedies come on that strong for me. So I'm happy. Thank you, comedies. Yay.
So I think next we'll have to talk about those dramas, the ones that we had from the pilot kind of said we were excited by, see if we're still excited by them. So you'll want to stick around. Danielle at Danielle TBD.
Marisa at Marisa Rothman. Bye, guys.
Pageant wave.